Hey guys, thanks for tuning in. This is Ben at Tier 1 Kinetics. Today, you're here on a little adventure that we had in order to test the AGM StingIR Model 384. It's a nice, mountable, portable, extremely light thermal unit that AGM let us borrow. And so I figured the least that we could do is give a pretty honest review on this particular product, just being used in various different scenarios, from being thrown around a truck to being chucked around a range outside to going on marine and water expeditions, and basically everything that I could think of to actually use this for in a practical way. And it was extremely helpful. So both as a situational awareness tool and something that penetrates where traditional night vision doesn't, and also where you just can't possibly see something that's well camouflaged in the brush. So mounted it a couple different ways, one on the M801 Eagle, our new weapon system, as well as the Ops Core carbon light bump helmet on a Wilcox G63 mount. None of this stuff is groundbreaking or mind-boggling, and I think like anybody that is at least semi-serious in their practical approach to having the tools needed to be versatile outside probably has at least one night vision monocular, probably some sort of a helmet mounting system, and then just to further it just a little bit, we're getting into this thermal imaging in game. So I hope you guys enjoy the intro here, and I'm going to give you guys a little review in person just about the features and impression I have. All right, I'm just going to do a one-take wonder here. Welcome to the lodge in northern Washington. It's off the town of Anacortes, and it's a pretty interesting place to be. It's gorgeous out here. It's a pleasure to be with you here today and spend a little bit of time working on Tier 1 Kinetic stuff and doing a little review for a company called AGM, who is nice enough to let me borrow one of their StingIR units. Pretty impressed overall. I've been using it for probably 2 weeks now. It's fairly intuitive. I got about a 5-minute, hey, this is how you turn it on, this is how you magnify it, briefing. I left some of the stuff at home because I traveled up here in a plane, and so I could only bring a couple different things, and I really just needed something to mount it on a helmet for this particular test. So this particular unit just simply mounts in the Wilcox G63 by just sliding it in just like you would a pair of nods. Folds down very easily. It's nice and adjustable either way to adjust to whichever eye you are. I'm left eye dominant, so I can slide it over to my left eye, and then that way I don't have to continuously struggle to actually find what I'm looking at in the monocular. A little bit more about me and why this matters. I mean, I'm definitely not the most experienced guy in the universe with thermal or night vision, but with that said, background includes a little over 2,500 hours operating a $14 million aircraft with a $1 million camera on it that can see in day, night, and thermal imagery, whether or not someone's holding an AK-47 or a newspaper from 7 miles away. In addition to that, I also have a few hundred hours flying a Black Hawk in the middle of the night, putting in operators in the most strangest positions imaginable in Afghanistan in a pair of something that was much less capable than these. So without further ado, we'll get on with this review a little bit more. You turn the main unit on by clicking on this middle button here. you zoom and pan through all the different modes by the up and down arrows. It probably weighs 6 ounces, something like that. It's very light. I was hiking with it out there in the woods with it on my head, and is hardly noticeable. So what I want to say with the ability to scan for warm animals in the woods for the hunting crowd out there is that you could very easily pick out a bird or a squirrel or a deer at I don't know, it ranges up to probably 100 to 150 yards. It was very dense in there. So the drawbacks, I guess, to this thermal imaging stuff is that if the density of the vegetation is such that you can't actually visibly see through it, and you're probably not going to see warmth through that vegetation. So there has to be some sort of exposure of that particular animal in order to see it. So that's good and bad. So instead of hiking up and down every single nook and cranny, looking visually, trying to find these animals, it was much easier for me to just walk I could walk in a little draw and basically scan each side of the draw, probably 50 to 60 meters out, and look for any kind of heat signature at all, which, you know, when a deer's bedded down and well camouflaged, it's extremely difficult to see visually, and so it's kind of nice to be able to like pick this out. I mean, it literally in this rainbow mode, I mean, like heat just glows out of it. And the interesting thing is that it almost like automatically gains so that the rest of the image around it gets darker, so the contrast pops even harder. So, and the other camera systems and infrared systems that I've used in the past, you only have black hot and white hot as your two options for how you view the thermal return. And in this unit, you also have orange hot and this other one called rainbow hot, which is kind of like their predator mode, which honestly, I kind of felt like it out there. It's a little weird. And honestly, just for disclaimer, I wasn't hunting. I didn't have my license. I was purely just trying to kick deer up for my dad, who's 75 years old and has a rifled shotgun for this particular hunt, because that's all that's allowed to be used on this little uninhabited island. And so anyway, overall, you know, extremely helpful. You know, this particular unit, we actually have it for sale along with, I think, 25 or 30 of their other products, which I've used a handful of now, and I've always been impressed with the overall fit and finish, especially for the price point. The resolution display, like, I'm not going to get into nitty-gritty technical details of the image resolution, but when we had it on the rifle scope, it's very easy to magnify this image up to 10x. And so if you're out varmint hunting or predator hunting like coyotes or something like that, I mean, I would think that it's like almost, I mean, it's almost essential, especially at night for nocturnal animals. Even if you do have night vision, sometimes it's really hard to pick out the contrast between something that's alive and something that's not, just because there's not really any color gradient difference between the stuff that's actually warm and not. So overall, I think this is an amazing little product, and honestly, it's about the same price as a PVS 14, which is a kind of a earlier generation of night vision, and you know, it's actually something that I used at Ranger School when I went there. But let's go back to some things that I didn't like about this. One was when I had it mounted on the rifle scope, I wasn't able to adjust the image up and down to align with the crosshairs on my scope, so I wasn't able to ever really get it to co-witness. I'm told by Randy over at AGM that there's a firmware update that's corrected that now. And the other thing that I was struggling with a little bit was battery life, but they also have included another battery cap that I didn't use because I'm still pretty new to the product myself. So I was like, okay, well, I've got a whole pile of CR123s for everything basically that I have. And so I figured I would just use those. And so out of a single CR123, I was probably getting 4 to 5 hours of actual run time. And that might be even a little high, it might be more like 3 to 4. But that's pretty much the summary of this particular unit. I really liked the throw over cantilever quick disconnect that they had for the rail system as well. Very sturdy. I've not been gentle on this. I've dropped it. I've been kind of cringed a few times because I wasn't really sure if that was going to work or not afterwards. Didn't ever submerge it, but I'm fairly confident that this is not something that is easily penetrated by water. I'd be very comfortable wearing this in a wet, rainy situation, and I kind of want to just see how good it holds up in rain. But yeah, that's pretty much it. That is the AGM StingIR 384. It's about $2,700 at tier1kinetics.com. Go check us out. There's a whole lot of other stuff on there that you might like also. But thanks for tuning in, and see you later from Washington.